All right, we welcome you into Coronavirus Inside the Arizona Numbers, and we've got a lot to get to today. I'm here inside the station. Garrett's at home. We're going to get you caught up on all the stuff going on, but a lot to get to. Of course, those benchmarks come out tomorrow, those updated benchmarks, but you know we got you covered here, and we can show you how things look so that you're prepared for it tomorrow. And also, Garrett, a huge story coming out of the county right now. The county press briefing just happened, and they're going to be doing these sero surveys. So some people in 29 neighborhoods, they're looking to go out to 210 households in the community right here in Maricopa County. And if this happens, if your neighborhood is selected, if your home is selected, a notice will be hung on your front door. And it'll be hung this week. And then later, two representatives are going to have official shirts, official badges, all that stuff are going to show up between September 12th and the 20th. This is all voluntary. This is to test to see if you have any antibodies. Of course, you can turn them down. You do not have to take part in this, but this is to get a sampling to see how widespread this is within our community. What they plan to do, they will never be inside your home. They will set up a tent outside, set up a time to do this, and anyone over 6 years old in your home can take part in this. This is a small blood sample. This is done through ASU. It goes over to the Mayo Clinic. It's tested for antibodies and then destroyed. That's it. I know there's going to be a ton of questions about this, and we're going to cover it on our newscast. We're going to keep you updated on all of these things as these door tags go out, as these people show up at your doors, as people decide to turn them down. I'm seeing some people post, no way. I would do it because I would be so curious about antibodies in my system. I've taken a COVID test, but have not taken an antibody test. So that's the information on that. If you see a hanger on your door in Scottsdale, that's what that's related to. And we will always, of course, cover this for you so we can keep you updated. But Garrett, let's get to all this news that's happening today. We could either start with some of the benchmarks that are coming out tomorrow or start with our summary page. Your choice today.
Let's start with the summary page. Let's just get through it so we can
such a guy of tradition.
Huh?
Such a guy of tradition there.
That's true. So as you can see today, 520 cases reported, 21 new deaths, recent deaths, I would say, reported. And then a PCR test number of about 4921 for those following at home. That is a percent positive that's over 10%. And so, you know, it on the surface, it can look bad, but what I can tell you is that a lot of cases were added to the curve today that did not have a corresponding negative that were added from, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. So our actual percent positive for the week is actually quite good. It's 3% today. So, reason to celebrate for that. But, let's just watch that. And then the percent positives, 12.6, 6.4, no movement there yet.
And as far as Maricopa County, I know you spoke of 21 deaths, 19 of those coming in within Maricopa County. And one of the reasons we're watching that closely as we hit another marker likely tomorrow, sadly, 3,000 lives lost in Maricopa County.
We did have the one thing to notice today that was interesting is that we did have Mojave County did have very low case numbers, but it was an extremely high test reporting day for Mojave County today. So to me, when this has happened before, this is this indicates to me that the Department of Corrections did a test of a prison system up there that basically didn't yield that many results. As you can see, only 12 results out of 1,300 tests. Very good percent positive for that, under 1%. But that's the sort of one interesting aspect today is that just this massive test dump that happened in Mojave.
All right. And if any of you would like to dig into some of those other counties, of course, you can find that on the Arizona Department of Health summary page right there for COVID information. We would stay with this. We got a lot more to move on to today. Other headlines that are happening around the country as well, Garrett. We just sadly reported the first death out of the Sturgis bike rally in South Dakota. That happening earlier today. A man in his 60s who lived in Minnesota who traveled to Sturgis for for the bike rally. So we wanted to update you on that as well. All right, as we look at some of these numbers, Thursday is always a big day because we update all of those benchmarks for you. And when those benchmarks are updated, it means different things for schools and for businesses. Those don't officially come out until tomorrow, but of course, looking at them with us here today, you can get a pretty good understanding of how things are going to look. And Garrett, it seems as if we will have 2 more counties here in Arizona move into that acceptable category for starting back to hybrid learning. That's a mix of some learning at home, some learning back at school. If that's the case, that would be 6 of our 15 counties back past that threshold to reopen their schools.
Yes. Let me pull up the school's dashboard. I was ready with the workplace dashboard, and then you said schools, and I'm like, oh, let me go get that one. No, it's totally fine. I've got the school's dashboard ready to go, and I have already calculated out the per capita numbers for that will be put into the system tomorrow. So sort of be able to tell you how that's looking. And what we have, this is the state. We already see that the state does not meet its percent positive benchmarks. However, when you look at the percent positive of what we've had this last week, which I am looking at right now for the week of August the 23rd, I think what do we have there? Is it August 9th? Yes, August 9th is the last. So let's go to, we have a 5% positive on the 16th and a 5% positive on the 23rd. So tomorrow, the state will have met all the benchmarks. Wow. But of course, we don't do this by state. We do this by county. So let's go through all the counties. Maricopa County, as you can see, the one thing, the holdup for Maricopa County is the percent positive. They have 1 week of the August 2nd that is considered substantial. When we look at the PCR testing by week at the AZDHS website, we can see that the percent positive for the August 16th is 5%. So tomorrow, Maricopa County as a whole will be calculated into the meeting of the benchmarks, and we'll have, in fact, we'll be under that 7% hybrid, like you said. They'll be under that. So that's that county, and then Pinal County. We'll just give them a quick check here, really quick, to make sure. Let me just flip on that. And then Pinal County is also going to be making it, as their percent positive was only 3% last week.
So they will not be making the threshold.
They will be making it. Oh, they will be making. Okay. Yes, they will be making the threshold tomorrow. They just missed it last time, but they will make it. Well, let me check this really quick, just to make sure. Now that I just saw that last part, if you notice, there's something there saying right here. Yeah, it doesn't make per capita because there was a slight increase. So let's just see if that's going to. It looks like Pinal County did have an increase in their per capita at 57. So actually, Pinal, I take back what I said. Pinal County will likely not make it tomorrow. Make the hybrid learning tomorrow.
And what about Pima County? That was another county that was getting pretty close for schools.
Yeah, Pima is very close. Let me check this per capita number. It's at 89 right now. Tomorrow, Pima County will post a 47. So it's going to be obviously well under what it needs to be for that marker. So it will make that. And then on this, let's just check. I'm pretty sure this is going to make it. So we'll check to see what this is. And it is 5%. So Pima County will be put into hybrid tomorrow. So just to review, the first 2 counties that passed that threshold for schools for all of you were Apache and Yavapai. That was about 2 weeks ago. Last Thursday, we were able to update you on Greenlee and La Paz. They both joined Yavapai and Apache in that school benchmark, passing that. And it looks as if, as Garrett just showed you there, Maricopa and Pima would be passing that benchmark tomorrow. So 6 of 15 counties. The other counties we did not mention. It does not look like any of those, Garrett, will make that threshold tomorrow. Well, let's see. Actually, did Coconino might make it. Let me check to see what Coconino looks like. Coconino's considered substantial right now, correct?
It is. Coconino is actually in the moderate category for businesses.
For businesses, yes. It does make, I'm checking against the percent positives, very low percent positives in Coconino for last week, only 3%. So as long as they're using the same metric that they have on the dashboard, It does appear as if they will make the Coconino will also make the hybrid as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we'll mark that down to watch as well. So, of course, all of this information official as of tomorrow when the county puts it out, but we're just giving you a brief preview here so you can kind of see how things look. Remember, drilling down to the specific school districts or the specific zip codes, that will have to wait until after about 5 o'clock tomorrow. That's when that particular information is updated. So if you'd like to see how your child or grandchild school district will look after that time to sort of see how things are. And also remember that you only get that information for Maricopa County. So if you're outside of that, we won't be able to update you on that. But once again, 6 of the 15 counties, possibly even 7, making that threshold tomorrow for schools to start both hybrid learning and hybrid learning, which is in person or at home learning, that remote learning. Okay, Garrett, so let's move on to some businesses and see how the business benchmarks look. Just to bring everybody up to speed as you're pulling up those graphics as well, minimal spread in Greenlee. So already that was in the minimal category. In the moderate category, we had 8 different counties. So last week we were able to tell you Apache, Cochise, Coconino, La Paz, Maricopa, Navajo, Pima, and Yavapai were all in that moderate category. So we'll take a peek to see if any more are going to move into that minimal category. And then anybody I've left out, of course, those are substantial counties and categories. That includes Gila, Graham, Mojave, Pinal, Santa Cruz, and Yuma. So those are all in the substantial categories. So we'll try to give you a preview here of how things sort of look for tomorrow. Remember that one sheet with all the counties, the official list does not come out until tomorrow. We're just giving you an early peek here of how things sort of look based on Garrett's expertise in this.
So yeah, this is the. I'm just looking through the dashboard really quick to see where we can see this, especially the substantials going to moderate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Mojave County right now for the week of August 9th. They were under 10%. I'm going to check the August 16th right now to see what it looks like, and it does. Oh, it appears that Mojave is not going to be recalculated into moderate tomorrow. So right now they're posting at 10%. I don't know if that's rounded up. They only give me, basically they don't give me any decimals to work with on the dashboard,
Mm-hmm.
but then they do end up not rounding it up on the business dashboard. So it might be 9.8 for all I know. But as of right now, it does post a higher. Oh, sorry, that's the school one. It does, as of right now, Mojave does post a higher than 10% for the week of 16th. So it wouldn't make it. And then let's see where else. I know that La Paz. Let me pop in La Paz here really quick for everyone. It's a very small county. You've probably, if you've driven to LA, you've driven through it from Phoenix. And La Paz County, you can see it's made all minimal except for this one per capita. And I can tell you, based on what I'm looking at, tomorrow La Paz County will also be put into the minimal category.
That would be the only other county making it there with Greenlee. Is that correct? That was the only one that was even close.
Yes, Greenlee and Paz will be the only counties that will be in minimal tomorrow. So,
okay.
And then where else? Could you give me another substantial?
Yeah, you know what? Substantial. Pinal is in substantial category too. And so would they be sliding down then to the moderate category?
So they were missing their per capita, as you can see right here. They made all of their metrics for percent positivity and the COVID-like illness. So they were just missing this one metric. And I'm looking at it right here. And it does appear that they're going to post for their per capita tomorrow a 57 out of 100. It is slightly higher than what it was the week prior, but it just has to be under 100K. So, or excuse me, 100 per 100K. So it should make moderate tomorrow.
So that was one of the other ones we were watching closely. Also, Santa Cruz, tracking whether that could get a little bit closer.
Santa Cruz does make these. It does make its per capita numbers. It's just missing 1% positive. So let's just check to see what tomorrow's percent positive will likely post. If anyone wants to know where I'm going, I'm just simply going to the AZDHS dashboard to check to see what their numbers are.
We've added that web address right there on the bottom. If there's a particular county that you're interested in, I saw a few people posting about Yuma, so we'll get to Yuma County next to update you.
Santa Cruz will be posting about a 4% tomorrow for their percent positive, so they will be recalculated into moderate tomorrow.
Okay. Do you want to stay with the substantial? Let's check on Yuma. They were also in substantial.
Okay. I can tell you, just to let you know, I can tell you that Greenlee and Graham are still over 100K in their per capita, so they're not going anywhere. They're going to remain substantial. Yuma, however, is a different story. They will have one, as you can see, they still have 2 of these that were over 100K. So they need to have 2 that are under 100. And so they're not going to be recalculated into moderate tomorrow, because it looks like as of right now, Yuma is going to take at least 2 weeks to be put into moderate, simply because they will be posting a low number tomorrow. They'll be posting about a 73 for that graph, but they need 2 of them. So it looks like it's another week for Yuma.
Okay, and we may as well go through Mojave as well, and then I think we've covered the substantial category. So once again, Gila and Graham and Yuma will not be moving and staying in that substantial category. Pinal and Santa Cruz are a bit of a different story, and it's Mojave that you have pulled up right now.
Mojave, I've got a question on, and I'll show you. I'll try to tell you what here. I think I just covered this, but Mojave last week posted a 10% for their positivity rate. It has to be under 10%. So what I can't tell you is that if that number is rounded or not, because it could be rounded up. See, this one, it says 9.5. They don't give me decimals on their PCR dashboard. So Mojave may make it tomorrow. Mojave may not. I don't know. I'd say it's definitely the one that to watch tomorrow, because they're showing a 10%, but they don't give us decimals, so it could be rounded up, and it could be fine. I know that on the next week, August 23rd, they're showing an 8% right now. So it looks like no matter what, they're going to be recalculated into moderate in at least a couple weeks. But it really depends if that 10% is over or under 10%, because they do use the decimal point in this gating criteria, but we don't see it. So it's a coin toss right now for Mojave.
So in this moderate category, it looks like La Paz would move into the minimal, but that is the only one. I know we're getting so many requests to check Maricopa County. So let's just show everybody again how Maricopa County looks, just because it is the most populous county in Arizona.
For business, Maricopa County is already in the moderate category. Tomorrow, it's going to be posting a 42 for its per capita. That is down from 59 that it posted the week prior. For its percent positive, Maricopa County will be posting a 5%, so it'll be just nearing minimal threshold. Although, of course, as everyone knows, with some of the news that's been going on with ASU, I would say Maricopa is a little up in the air right now, because there have been growing infections in that one area, and that could start to impact, and it has impacted the percent positives a little bit.
Okay, so a few changes coming tomorrow. We just wanted to give you all sort of a preview of what it seems will be happening there, both with the businesses and with the schools. I know so many people are jumping on here late, so I'll recap once again. For schools, it looks like Maricopa, Pima, and Coconino will pass that 7% threshold to be able to move into the hybrid learning. Of course, you can still drill down a little bit more and learn about your school district and learn about your zip codes, but that information won't come out until about 5 tomorrow night. And then again, in that substantial category for businesses, as far as businesses go, Gila, Graham, and Yuma are really going to be the ones to watch that are going to be staying in that substantial category likely for a while. So when it's official, when it comes out tomorrow, we'll of course update all of you, but we wanted to give you a little preview for those of you who join us on here each day. Okay, Garrett, let's talk about this under 20 category. Kids getting tested, kids going back to school. Jessica Antonio writes, ASU ? Let's talk about that. So the way that these numbers are split for ages is at 20 years old. That's the way we get them from the state. That's the best number we can give to give you kind of an estimate as to how this is faring with our kids. The under 20 category is growing.
It is growing. It's growing at a much faster clip right now than the others. Now, just to put in context, of course, the total case growth is obviously still very low. We haven't had a case growth over 1,000, a reported day over 1,000 for nearly 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
So that just has to be put into context right there. But with that already put into context, the under 20 is absolutely in the driver's seat. Today, for example, every other demographic, and I'll share it really quick just so you can see what the numbers look like. From the demographic page on the AZDHS website, but every other demographic only grew by 0.2%, whereas the under 20 grew by 0.7%. Sounds like a lot, it sounds like it's not a lot, but in kind of when you put them all together, that it is a lot. I mean, again, small growth altogether, but it is sort of growing right now. And that 0.7, 0.2, that's I haven't done a weekly growth on those. This is quite literally since the beginning, so 0.7% from the beginning of the pandemic. And you can see we do have a way to actually look at this. You can see that we've been talking about this forever, that under 20 was always at 12% of the infections. Always at 12%.
13 today.
It's at 13. So we're starting to see some actual movement in the cumulative numbers from that under 20 group. It is growing. It is also the lowest impacted per capita age group of all of them. That's also important to say, but it's growing right now.
25,000 kids affected by this here in Arizona. So I want to teach all of you where to find this. Of course, this is on the Arizona Department of Health site. There's a tab for demographics, and you can actually click on that. That's where you'll find these specific graphs. So some of you who are parents or grandparents and you want to check on this for yourself and see how things are changing over time for your own information, it's right there, 25,000 kids and 13% of our total numbers. So Brant is asking, hi Brant, welcome in. Did it affect the RT number? Certainly did. The RT number, whoa, today. If you're tracking that on a day-to-day basis, we are really seeing that show up. Yesterday, we were still in the number 1 spot, weren't we, Garrett? Today, we're 9th.
Yeah, so we're up there now. We're still under 1. Very important, but we're now 0.92. We were at 0.86 or 0.84 at our lowest. We've been re-estimated at 0.92, and you can see that the range now, the error bars are well above 1 at this point, 1.08. This is ASU in the driver's seat. Realistically, we've had a bunch of these numbers come in, not a lot of numbers, but still enough to sort of impact the growth. Today, we posted a over 10% positivity rate yesterday using the JHU the COVID tracking project numbers, and today again over 10%. So that's obviously going to impact these numbers. I expect, depending on what is actually occurring at ASU, if ASU is sort of, we find out that it's more of an isolated incident and it's quite contained, then at that point, our RT numbers should start going back down. But right now, because of just these increases in that area, it's starting to push the estimate up. RT, I saw someone ask what that.
Yeah, Jonathan was asking that.
Jonathan, what that means is it's the rate of transmission. It means that basically when you look at the number, it means 100 people. They estimate that 100 people that are infected with COVID-19 can at this point transmit it to 92 people.
And so when you're looking at that, Jonathan, if it's above a 1, they're considering the virus is spreading quickly. And when it's below 1, the virus will spread much slower or stop spreading.
Yeah, and you can see sort of the numbers of how it works right here. Yeah. This is one of those sort of scientific graphs, if you will, but it's basically implied infections versus your adjusted positives. And what it's saying is sort of, at this point, we're still at a down growth, but now it's not, it's like, well, it hasn't been moving as fast as possible, as fast as it could. So
yeah, and we should remind you too that bar, that whole bar that you're seeing there, we're based on these calculations, they're saying they're 80% confident we're within that range. So 80% confident we're between 0.69 all the way up to 1.08. Jonathan's writing, thanks for that. And Jonathan, this is a really great site. If you ever want to go check it out, we put the address right there on the bottom. I just feel like it's one of the easiest sites to read, and you can kind of see other states. I saw Brant commenting on Iowa. Yeah, Iowa's not in good shape. It's third from the last, but right there with my home state of South Dakota and also with North Dakota. So worth checking on that. Let's see, Garrett, I want to move on from this if we can. And one other thing to mention for those of you asking about education in Arizona, our crew here at the station did a Facebook Live a little bit earlier today on the state of education here in Arizona right now, answering a lot of your questions with experts from the field. That was on at 10 o'clock this morning. So just scroll back a couple of posts here on Facebook and you'll be able to find that. And if you're watching later on tonight on Roku and some of our other streaming devices, when this replays in the evening, just head to abc15.com and ABC15's Facebook page. And at 10 this morning is when they went live with that. It was about an hour-long conversation on schools. So all right. Let's see. Long-term care facilities. We haven't talked about that. And some new information came out on that today as well. I want to get you updated on. And Garrett, they provided, the state and the health department provided some guidance on how things will be reopening as early as this weekend. So I want to let you know, if this is something you're very interested in, you'll want to go to the AZDHS website and click on the section that is pertaining to that, because it gives all kinds of information, including this graph that, or this picture here that Garrett has pulled up: visitation at congregate care settings for vulnerable adults. And Garrett, this is starting as early as this weekend, these guidelines that have come out.
Yes, and what this is basically laying out is what we've seen with both the schools and with the workplace gating criteria. It says, okay, this is similar to the way that they're handling bars and gyms. Is they're saying, okay, if your county you're in is in minimal, then basically all these X's mean this is allowed. So basically, all visitations are allowed, at least with the same sort of social distancing requirements that we've had, but they're still allowed. Moderate, everything is allowed except for limited indoor visitation. That is not allowed in a moderate county. And then substantial counties, they allow for compassion care visitation and basically nothing else. Except there's sort of this right here with limited indoor visitation that ombudsman must be able to visit, but everything else has been, is not allowed at that point.
Okay, so these just came out, and like I said, I know some people have been asking about this throughout the week, and these are the guidelines that you've been waiting for. There's Cindy. Cindy, you're here. Yeah, most aren't doing it for this weekend. That is probably true as they get set to prepare for it, because you still have to go get your COVID test, and then you have 48 hours to go make that visit. So that's where you want to find all that information. Of course, it's on the Arizona Department of Health site. It's 10 pages long. So if this pertains to you or a loved one and you're going to be headed over there often, you might want to print that out and have that handy, because the rules are changing based on the category and where we land within that. So Cindy, you're right. They're allowed to start this weekend. A lot are probably just still trying to get everything in line to get that.
Yeah, they do have. And Cindy mentioned that on the next page, which I didn't show, I've re-pulled back up, that there are some sort of conditions that have to be met in order to allow for visitation. It says, it's got the testing requirement, assigning the attestations, limiting contact, a lot of the stuff that they have for all the businesses, and then a visitor log for contact tracing, and then, cleaning and sanitizing the facility.
Yeah, so that visitor log is really interesting. We're seeing other cities do that, even like at restaurants. So you'd sign in when you go to a restaurant and leave your name and phone number so that they could contact trace if somebody ends up sick there. So it's not unlike what we're seeing in other states. So Cindy, we hope that you get to see your loved ones soon. I know that that this has been a huge concern for you, and as with so many families who are waiting to see their loved ones. So we hope it goes smoothly. Let us know when you finally do get in to see your loved one. We'll be thinking of you as you do that. All right, Garrett. Let's see. We're already have been chatting here for about 30 minutes. What other things sort of caught your eye today as you went through the numbers?
Well, we're still, I know that there's a lot of conversation about ASU and what ASU could do to numbers. As of right now, we haven't seen anything in the hospital assets, sort of the hard numbers that we have that we know are reported from the hospital systems that aren't done via an investigative process. We haven't seen any changes there yet. So this is a good thing. They're basically either staying flat or still going down. Most of our hospitalizations, ICUs, they're still at basically either record lows or where they were in early May, late April, when really reporting began on this whole thing. We did, over the last couple days, we finally saw emergency room visits break under the 800 mark, which I know it kind of, excuse me, the 900 mark, went under the 900 mark. It had been staying above the 900 for several weeks. I mean, 3 to 4 weeks, and then it broke under that this week. So, as far as the hard code has hospitalization numbers, things are still looking pretty good on that in that respect.
And if we see a bump in this, we're going to see it first likely in cases, but as far as the metrics go for hospitalizations, the first things we might see are, say, like ER visits or initial hospitalizations.
We would see ER visits. The first things we would really see is the CLI, the COVID-like illness, sort of the surveillance system will start to pick up on it, and we'll also see it in the emergency room visits. That's the first place we would see it. And then it would start to matriculate down to inpatient, and then ICU, and then finally death. However, the fact that here's the thing. The COVID-19 right now is being driven by that under 20 age group. And right now it really appears that it's that age group that's testing positive. And we haven't really seen it go down to some of the more higher risk age groups. So if that remains isolated, that's what I was talking about with ASU. If they're able to contain and isolate this thing, then we would likely not see any hospitalization numbers go back up, simply because it's impacting a age group that doesn't typically require hospitalization.
So one of the things we were tracking when we were looking at the numbers at ASU, U of A, and NAU, although they just started school a few days ago, 48 hours ago, so they're not going to have numbers to report yet. None of these schools have started a dashboard, so to speak. They're all just sort of posting them on their website or releasing them to the media. When you don't have a dashboard, there's not a way to sort of pull the numbers. So you're just having to input those separately if you're looking at those closer.
No, I mean, if you don't give a dashboard of what's going on at your school, the only proxies we can use are the zip code data, which is, it can be useful, but it's also can be misleading. Like, for example, today Tempe is at 2307. I'm trying to remember what it was at yesterday. Please give me a second. I'm going to move over my head here.
That's okay.
To the other side so I can pick it up and tell you what it was yesterday. I don't have these things memorized. And yesterday it was at 2148. So that is a 159 new cases added at the ASU zip code just in this last update. That is the largest. That is the highest number that ASU the 85281 has picked up in probably its entire history, but I'll have to look to see what the other numbers. I only have it for a couple weeks, and it's not it doesn't make that number. So
wow. So of all of the zip codes, or just that?
It's the highest of all the zip codes right now. Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
No, ASU's 85281 is picking up more steam than any other zip codes. The only other zip codes that are over 100 right now are zip codes that we know contain congregate settings. Either one of them is Eloy, and I can't remember. The other one is 85132. And let me see which one that is. It is that one. I bet you that one's Eloy. No, I was like, it's Eloy. I talked about Eloy, and I'm like, it's Florence. Florence and Eloy are the two other zip codes that are picking up larger numbers, and those we know are detention complexes.
Okay. People were looking for some forecasting in all of this too. I know the IMHE model has now added all the way through December to their forecasting. I know it's not your favorite site of all of them, but it's gotten better, but it does give us a range that's pretty far out, so we can kind of see how things look throughout the year here, and specifically that pull down bar that gets us to Arizona, so that we can get a better look at how things look on that page. And Garrett, I peeked at it today. I did not see the day it was updated. Let's see, I have it pulled up here. August 28th. So it's just been updated in the last few days. They tend to do that once or twice a week now. But that's giving us a look all the way out to December 1st, which might be one of the longer ranges that we have.
It is. That is longer. Like I said, right now, pretty much were showed it November 1st or October 1st in some cases. But yeah, well, we're looking through this right now. I don't go to this site very often, so we're all here together.
It's got an interesting dip though on the deaths section, because it goes down, and then it's like in November and December it starts to climb back up. I'm wondering if that's
which is very interesting. I don't know yet what that is attributed to, but that's I presume that has something to do with flu season or something about the temperature. That's the only thing I can think of. See, the thing is, the reason this model is I don't want to say I don't like this model, but
what are the
reason I use the other model is because it doesn't try to attribute those types of variables that are difficult to quantify.
Yeah. For reference, we could look at some of the other states or even peek at the United States in a whole to see, but the daily deaths do start to go up, it seems, across the US past that.
It's presuming. Yeah, it seems to be presuming that flu season is going to have a pretty hard impact on the United States here, and that's what I'm attributing to that myself. I don't actually know. I'm just, like I said, this is why I use the machine learning dashboard or model, because it doesn't try to account for those kind of variables that can cause wild swings in IHME.
So most of you probably heard they are trying to make sure that people are able to get a flu shot this year here in Arizona. They do not want money to be a limiting factor. And so there's a lot of information on how you can get a flu shot here in Arizona coming out right now. And there is a dashboard even set up on one of the pages, and I need to find it for you, but it updates you on how you can find the closest place to get a flu shot if you are underinsured or don't have insurance. And I'll try to get that to make sure that we have that handy so that we can pass it along to everyone, especially as we get closer to flu season. I know some people are already out there getting their shots right now. I've made my appointment, but not until October. So a little bit of time there on that. We also want to update you on the compliance website and the compliance phone number for businesses that are reopening. Of course, businesses open safely. To safely reopen, it is all our business, because we don't want to see another uptick in cases. And so they have put together this compliance website that's added right there. It's azhealth.gov/compliance COVID-19. That's where you can fill out information about any of these businesses that you are seeing that are not complying with standards to keep people safe, not only their clientele, but their staff as well. There's also a phone number, and that number is 1-844-410-2157. They are going out and investigating those. They've said about 25% of them don't appear to be valid, but they appreciate hearing from everybody so that they can check to make sure we don't see another spike in cases out there. Okay, let's see, Garrett. What else do we have to get to before we wrap for the day? I want to get to some of the questions as well. Everybody's been
let's go through questions. Yeah,
sounds good. Let's see. Let me know if you have questions. I
would like to remind, because I see it all the time in the comments, that the whole 6% thing, that's a huge misread of what happened. And people were saying, oh, only 9,100 people died of COVID. That is not the case. I mean, if you really want to take it to the absurd, it means that 9,100 people spontaneously combusted because there was nothing else on the death certificate. This was not a comorbidity type situation. This was, people who died of COVID-19 who also had a heart disease, or a heart attack, or something happened that literally stopped them from breathing. So, you're not looking at the death certificate correctly if you just think COVID-19. It also is the same all around, even in most things. When there's a gunshot wound, it just doesn't say gunshot wound. It will also say other things that happen, like cardiac arrest. So you're misreading that when you see that.
And I think folks always think that there's just one line on a death certificate to plug in something, and there are actually several lines so that you can update all of the things that you're seeing there. And they review these things, Garrett. We show the probable cases that are still under review that still need more information before it can be classified as COVID or not.
They cast. So we finally got this cleared up. We had this problem with Maricopa County, AZDHS telling us competing or conflicting information on deaths. We asked AZDHS, and they said the quote unquote motorcycle COVID-19 accident would not be considered a COVID-19 death. And then we went to Maricopa County, who then told us, oh, no, they would be considered because they got a test within 60 days. And it was like, well, now we've got this conflicting information. Well, Maricopa came back yesterday and put out something saying, look, we need to clarify this. We're casting a very wide net in the beginning, and we would technically include that person initially, but once it's reviewed in the investigative process and we realize that that person primarily did not die of COVID-19, then they would be removed from the deaths.
And one of the other things in there, Garrett, that people were always bringing up was the motorcycle accident death where somebody happened to have COVID. They were saying that's like 7 of the 5,000 people.
In the entirety of Maricopa County's death numbers, only 7 from the very beginning were either injury or poison.
Right. Okay. So we wanted to clear that up. I see a lot of you writing, thank you for clarifying. Happy to clarify that. I know that spread everywhere on Sunday. Everybody was talking about that. It's misreading of the data.
Yes,
quite honestly.
Kim Campbell said, yeah, like the one who died in COVID-19 when he crashed his motorcycle in Florida. And this is exactly what we're talking about. That was cast initially because there was a positive COVID test. And then during investigation, it was removed. Mm-hmm. And it actually says that in the article that it was removed. So this is something you have to know when you're reading this. You have to read through the entire thing and see what the end conclusion is.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, just a few minutes left. I want to see if we can get to just a few more questions. Lots of thank yous coming in. Carolyn, you're welcome. Margaret, you're welcome. Kathy, you're welcome. Thank you so much for saying that. I know she writes, there's always going to be doubters out there. Absolutely. We're just here to try to help you find the information so that you all can clear it up for yourselves as well, because some of this stuff can be difficult to read. Some of this stuff, if you're not a data analyst, it can be confusing. So we want to help clarify some of that information and then help you find the data as it pertains to Arizona. There's a lot of people trying to make decisions not only about sending their kids back to school, but whether they will begin to frequent a business or go out to dinner. I haven't been out. I was just looking at my phone. I saw a picture from my family out to dinner on March 8th. That was the last time. Little did we know. We went to Denny's for breakfast because my daughter requested it. That would be the last time we would go out to eat. Still have taken food to go, but have not sat down in a restaurant. So
thankfully, my birthday's on March 1st, so I got to celebrate my birthday before all of this happened, and then a couple weeks later, we're all. It's over.
We're all doing drive-by birthdays, that's for sure. Okay, so let's see. Tomorrow is a big day. We kind of gave you all a preview and just gave you more information on what things are going to look like for those benchmarks as we see it from the data that's coming out. But that official sheet that will have a list of the counties that are safer to reopen for schools, passing that benchmark, and then also the businesses who have moved to minimum, moderate, or substantial categories based on county. Both of those lists will come out tomorrow. And then we also will have updated information as it pertains down to zip codes and school districts for Maricopa County only. Those, though, only come out after 5 p.m. And then also Garrett will update you on all the numbers in the morning. Okay, a bit of housekeeping for those of you behind the scenes who are always joining us here in the afternoons. I will not be here tomorrow, so Steve is gracious enough. Steve Irvin is going to be filling in here with Garrett, so you guys will have a ton of information to go over. And then, because we are always here with you, and Garrett and I never, ever, ever, ever take a day off, we are not going to be here with you on Friday and Monday. So remember that it will be lower reporting days. There will be less data coming in just because some of those offices are closed as well. We will have a lot to talk about when we join you back on Tuesday, and hopefully a lot more data to analyze and look closer at for you as we get past that holiday weekend of lower reporting. Garrett, any other things that they should be watching out for over the weekend? Will you still be updating some of those numbers on your Twitter account?
Yeah, I'll probably still update because I have to collect them anyway, because once they're gone, they're gone. So, it doesn't take me more than a couple seconds to update once I put them together. So I will still, I'm always, no matter what, watching those emergency room numbers, the COVID-like illness numbers on the weekend. Everything's going to be a really low reporting, obviously, with Labor Day. Maybe, after that, I might be paying attention to the mobility number to see what that looks like for Labor Day, but that's not going to come out for a couple days after Labor Day. So we'll just sort of watch, some of those more sort of bleeding edge numbers, those emergency room numbers, to see what happens.
Okay. and we'll continue to track it all for you. You guys are so sweet. Look at all this. We like you, Katie and Garrett. Have a safe weekend, a happy Labor Day weekend. Thank you so much. Yeah, we kind of started this on a whim, chatting with you here each afternoon, and we just wanted to help teach you where to find this data and help you make the best decisions for your life and your friends and your family, and you know everybody's health better, you know everybody's lifestyle better. We just felt that some of these websites were difficult to navigate, and we could help you find this information easier. So early in the summer we started this, and we kind of rode with you through this whole wave here, and we're going to keep doing this. We're just going to take 2 days off. So Garrett will be back here with you tomorrow. Garrett and Steve will be here tomorrow, and then I will see you back here on Tuesday, as will Garrett. So we'll just take a little time away, but we'll be right back with you. We don't want you to think we're leaving you at all. So important to review Garrett's Twitter address. You guys are so sweet. Thank you for all the sweet comments coming in. Garrett's Twitter address is at Garrett_Archer. He'll keep those updates around 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning. That's where all that information will be. I'm still on Twitter at Katie Raml. I'll be active through this time off too. And then you can also catch me on Facebook if that's your preferred place, facebook.com/news from Katie. All of our very latest coronavirus reporting coming up for you at 4, which I'm going to do right here in just about an hour and 15 minutes. I better get ready. I'll be doing the 4. We also have our news at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. And I can't forget to mention, I think I've forgotten to mention this, Garrett, we have a 9 p.m. newscast now on CW61. So channel 1006 or channel 61, depending on who your provider is. And you can also, of course, catch us online. So be safe out there, everybody. Steve and Garrett will take care of you tomorrow, and I will see you back on Tuesday.